Episode 132 of Australia's #1 marketing show. This time, I have a fireside chat with Allan of Vintage Tub, a business started under his parents' veranda that now turns over 25 mil a year selling bathtubs. Now that's what I call cleaning up.
Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where successful small business owners share their secrets to take your marketing to the next level. Now here's your host, Tim Reid.
G'day everyone, and welcome back to Australia's #1 ranking marketing show. I am your host, Timbo Reid. You right there, whether you like it or not, are a motivated small business owner because you are tuning into this show, and we are brought to you by the very good folk at Net Registry, who help get both your and my business sorted online. Domain names, hosting, website design, Facebook competitions, you name it, they are the ones who are going to get your online marketing sorted. I suggest you give them a visit at netregistry.com.au or click on the banner on my homepage, smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. Big show, guys. Big show. Before we get into it, welcome also to everyone at the Flying Solo community. Now, The Voice is back on. Oh, I love The Voice. I don't watch a lot of telly. I really don't. I'm busy making podcasts, but I do love The Voice. There's a lot of stuff I like about The Voice. And if you haven't listened to episode 89 of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, go back and have a listen to it. It's where I interview Adrian Swift, who is the executive producer of The Voice in Australia, and he is responsible for the marketing and for the runaway success that show was last year. I interviewed him last year, sort of midway through, as it was going nuts in the ratings, and he talks about the use of social media, the way they've gone about, even the way they went about recruiting the judges, which is all the coaches, they're not judges, all really interesting stuff. Episode 89 of the Small Business Big Marketing Show, very interesting given The Voice is back for a second season. And I'm going to get through this episode because I want to go home and watch The Voice tonight. I know I'm a bit of a sucker for that reality TV. Now, just back from Sydney, had a wonderful family holiday in Sydney, an entire week being the ultimate tourist, did the lot. And, can't really ever take the marketing hat off, I should say. So I did have it on during my time traveling around Sydney, and there's so many marketing lessons. Boy, oh boy, there are so many marketing lessons to be had in the harbour city. It's an amazing place. As a Melbourne guy, I've got to say, Sydney-siders, you have nailed it. It is the most beautiful city. Let me share 3 marketing learnings that we small businesses owners can take from the city of Sydney, because I think there's some really interesting stuff that we can kind of apply in our business. Big learnings. First of all, Sydney knows what it's good at. It's a city built around the water. It's beautiful, and it has made the most of it. It has absolutely made the most of it. Arguably, and this is not meant to be a Melbourne-Sydney kind of dialogue here, but arguably better than my hometown, Melbourne, which is also built on the water, but we kind of turn our back to Port Phillip Bay, whereas Sydney full-on faces the harbour. The marketing lesson there is know what you're good at, small business owner. Yeah, that's you. Know what you're good at and focus on that. And all the other stuff that you're not good at, either drop or palm off to someone else to do. Sydney knows what it's good at. It has built it's become the most amazing world city by being really clear on its what it's famous for, if you like, and that's its harbour. Number 2 marketing lesson from Sydney. By being good at something, you know you're going to attract customers. So Sydney obviously knows it's going to attract a massive amount of tourists, and that's their clients, that's their customers. So have great systems in place, right? And I've got to tell you, maybe I just lucked it, but Sydney's public transport system is red hot. It is absolutely red hot. Everything works in sync. It's all priced brilliantly, and it just works. So when you do focus on something you're good at, you are going to attract more customers, more prospects to your business. So have great systems in place. That's an overall business lesson, I guess, but also as a marketing lesson, have great marketing systems in place so you can get your message out more often. More good messages out more often means more prospects coming to your door. I'm tripping over some of my words today, but hey, I've just got back from holiday. I'm kind of chillaxed still. That'll change tomorrow when I get back into the madness. Marketing lesson number 3 from Sydney. Joint ventures between key attractions. Sydney did this so well, and we should too as small business owners. We should strike joint ventures with other businesses who share the eyeballs and the attention of our same prospect group, of the people who we are trying to target. Sydney do this so well. You go to the aquarium, and as you're at the aquarium, there's signs suggesting you should go and visit Madame Tussauds or the Maritime Museum or some war barracks, or they go and do a cruise on the harbour. And then when you go and do the cruise on the harbour, it says go and visit the aquarium or go and visit Madame Tussauds or whatever it may be. Wonderful joint ventures established between the key attractions, and we should be doing that too. Joint ventures give you leverage, guys. They get you in front of more eyeballs without doing massive amounts of work. It's about sharing the love. So, they're my 3 marketing lessons from a family holiday I have just had in the beautiful city of Sydney. And, the funny thing was, it's really interesting when you go and look at something through different eyes. Every time I go to Sydney, it's on business, it's to give a talk, it's to meet with a client, and I see it through a different lens. And so going there as a tourist with my family, I saw that place from just through a completely different set of glasses, if you like. And it's a great thing to do with your business. If you can somehow take off the business owner's cap or the marketer's cap and look at it from your customer, for example, that's a really powerful marketing exercise in itself. All right, next, last week's episode. Shane, the email marketing guru Tilly. How much does that guy love email marketing? The feedback I've had on that episode has been splendiferous, and Shane has been kind enough to send me an audio file which I am going to post in the Small Business Big Marketing Forum, where he has gone and answered every single one of the listener questions that weren't answered in the episode I did with him last week. If you are troubled, disappointed, frustrated by any aspect of email marketing for your business, and in Shane's view, it is the most powerful marketing you can do, and he explains why. We dissect an email marketing campaign in that interview. Have a listen to that interview and join the Small Business Big Marketing Forum, because that is where you're going to find the extra little crunchy bits that Shane has put together for us. The forum's $49 a month, guys. It is gold. I'm in there every day answering your questions. Everyone else is in there. There's other members in there as well. We're talking marketing. We're posing questions. We're putting marketing materials up. What do you think of my brochure? What do you think of this page on my website? How should I approach my video marketing? What do you think about advertising on the local radio? All these kind of questions are getting answered in the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. Go to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, click on the forum button or click on the products page. It is up to you, and you will be able to sign up there and then, and you'll be in the forum quicker than you can say, gee, isn't the Small Business Big Marketing Show a very, very good marketing show? Now, so Shane, Tilly, wonderful email marketing stuff. The rest of it you'll find inside the forum. Okay, this week's interview is with Allan Dick of VintageTub.com. Now, VintageTub.com is a seriously successful website that sells baths. Yep, baths. Let me just share a little bit of Allan's bio. Allan's e-commerce career began innocently enough in 1998 when he began helping his brother build an e-commerce presence for his fledgling tub refinishing business. He did it under the deck of his parents' home, as you will shortly find out. It's now a $25 million a year operation, small business if you like, and it is in the top 500 internet retailing companies in the United States of America. And it's the largest family-owned retailer of reproduction bathroom fixtures in the United States. Allan started that business. He's now stepped outside of that business His brother runs it. Allan advises and consults to it. And he's in Australia at the moment because he is speaking at a conference that my wonderful sponsors, Net Registry, are actually sponsoring. It's called the Melbourne E-commerce online retail conference, and it is in Melbourne at the Convention Centre, April 16 and 17, 2013. Allan's speaking there. He was also kind enough to come on the show and just share some absolute gold. And we have a wonderful discussion about, online versus offline. They've got a showroom, a fully fledged bricks and mortar showroom, all that type of stuff, as well as this incredibly successful online business selling refurbished bathtubs. So wonderful interview. Pen and paper at the ready, guys. There is marketing gold dripping from your earphones in about 5 seconds' time. Here is Allan Dick from vintagetub.com. Allan Dick from Vintage Tub. Welcome to Small Business Big Marketing.
Good to be here, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Mate, it's a pleasure. Now, a $25 million a year internet retailer, top 500 internet company in America, etc., 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 etc. It started...
etc. Yeah, it sounds impressive, doesn't it?
Well, they're nice numbers. I'm going to ask you for some more numbers in a minute, but it started under the back deck of your brother's house.
Under my folks' back deck. Well, if you want to hear the story,
that's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. It started with an idea that I had about flipping homes. There was a lot of older homes in our area. We decided to go renovate them, and we'd start ripping, all the old stuff out and put new stuff in, kind of basic renovation. And we noticed that there was a lot of old cast iron clawfoot tubs, those old big heavy soakers. And my idea was to take a sledgehammer to them and destroy them and throw them in a dumpster. And my brother at the time was like, somebody somewhere's got to be buying these things. So he calls around and finds a company in New York City that says, yeah, we'll pay you $50 a piece for them. And so we save a bunch of them up and get a used trailer and start loading them up and taking them into the city. And we come out and made $300 on 6 tubs. That's awesome. That's great beer money, off we go. So we stopped doing the home renovation, but my brother's intrigued by the selling of these tubs. So then he starts placing an ad in the local, we call it a paper shop, but it's a local classifieds paper. That's all it is, just classifieds. And he said something like, I'll come to your house and remove those old tubs for free as long as you've got all 4 feet. And people called left and right, and we would find tubs in farmers' fields and under foundations and used as troughs and as, grottos for the Virgin Mary. I mean, any conceivable way, planters, never as a tub. I mean, it was always as something else. So
was it literally like, you ran that ad, like a line ad? I'm guessing it was a $20 line ad. Were you really inundated kind of straight away?
It started off slowly because I don't think people knew what to do with it. I think what more than likely happened was it appeared in the miscellaneous section because what else do you put it under? Yeah. And so I think what would happen is somebody would read that, and if they didn't have a tub, they'd mention like, hey, Phil, don't you have a tub on, that you're using as a horse trough? Well, if you want to sell that thing, this idiot's going to come to your house and take it out of your yard for you. Well, we would. We went all over the place ripping this stuff out. And so we started selling them into New York. And then finally they were like, we can't buy as many of them as you're bringing in. So my brother said, well, what do you guys do with them? And they said, well, we refinish them. So my brother learns how to refinish a tub, and it's not that hard. And so we start refinishing them. He takes them to local antique shows. And people are like, those tubs are awesome. We'd love one. Do you sell the plumbing? No, but we'll figure it out. And that's how it began.
Man, you're just slowly owning the entire value chain.
I think what it came down to, and when my brother and I talk about it, looking back on it 20 years later, I think what it was that we just wouldn't say no. And I think that served us well at the beginning. You just did whatever it took. But now, as a company that's maturing into a larger company, right? There's 45 employees now, and there's actual discipline occasionally, in what we do in our thinking. I think what we've discovered is that you have to say no a lot more. You really have to constrain yourself, or you will wind up just swamped.
That's interesting. Let's just talk about that moment, because you've gone from you and your brother having some fun, and realising that, we've hit on something here, and you've realised that all of a sudden you can own more of the value chain, you can earn more dough. Can you remember the point in time when it all of a sudden was like, this is getting serious?
Well, I think because I'd started off on a different career path, so there was a point where my brother started doing it on his own, and then I joined back on later on. But he told me that the very first website we built was 1996, I think it was 95, 96. I can't remember. It was somewhere right in there. And they charged them $10,000 for a site now that that is all but free. Yeah. And he was thinking to himself, all I have to do is sell one faucet a day, every day of the year, and I'll pay for this site. And I think it was that moment when it just started to dawn on us that there's something here. And then there was like incremental moments in there. The one I think that I had signed back on, and we were custom quoting everything. You had to write into us. You could do a little bit of e-commerce online, but we didn't have a lot of product up. It was more of a front page with a telephone number and some product. And I was quoting shipping. Now, you have to understand, a cast iron clawfoot tub, particularly a vintage one, is unique. So everyone had to be photographed and, measured and cataloged. And, because they're all different, they have to be individually created differently, and individually weighed, and then you had to do individual quotes. And I remember the feeling I had. I had like 5 or 6 of them to do, and I'm like, I have had it. I looked at the last 50 that I had done, said the average cost is this. I built that into every tub price, changed the site to read free shipping. And I thought, I've just saved myself some work.
Yep.
Within about 2 weeks, we were getting just call after call after call after call about people wanting to place orders. No more question about can you not? Nope. We just started taking orders.
Are we still around? Are we not like 96, 97?
You're at around probably 99 by this point.
It's interesting, because even back then, I'm trying to it just seems an eternity, doesn't it? When you were talking,
it feels like forever ago.
Online world, but back then, I'm guessing it's a relatively high involvement purchase. You were asking people back then to transact over this thing called the internet, which hadn't been around that long. You are asking them they're buying something sight unseen, if you like. They're seeing it online. There's a number of barriers to purchase that I can see. There still exists today even. I mean, there's still a whole lot of people that just wouldn't buy a bath online. What did you do back then? Well, free shipping is a good one.
That was massive.
Massive. What can you remember? Did you kind of overtly sit down and go, how do we knock down every barrier to entry? Or if you didn't, what did you do?
Well, if I had to do it again, I think certainly you learn a lot over the years, but I think it wasn't lost on us that people were buying used bathtubs sight unseen. And, and there's all kinds of problems that can happen with this. I mean, the wonderful thing about cast iron clawfoot tubs is they're heavy and fragile. So if you don't pack them just right for long haul shipping, they'll wind up there in pieces. So there's all kinds. It's fraught with peril to buy a clawfoot tub from sight unseen. We did a lot of things like put trust marks on our site. We had a one called Safe Shopping Network, or we put our Better Business Bureau logo up. We did anything we could with trust marks. We got that one pretty quickly, and I think that helped considerably. People wanted to know that we were not some fly-by-night operation. I think that when they called up, they could talk to somebody who was in a position of responsibility.
So clearly, your phone number's front and center of your site today. Back then, it was too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And I think just by the fact we knew what we were talking about, and we had the trust marks on the site, I think that calmed a lot of people down. And we're still big into the trust marks. We realize that people don't know who we are. And I think product ratings and reviews, I'll take a side journey here on that one. We were certainly one of the first smaller companies to actively embrace ratings and reviews. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bizarre Voice and Power Reviews. They're now one and the same company. But the joke at Bizarre Voice is we're lucky number 7. We're their 7th client. And I don't know how many thousands they have now, but it's we were there near the very beginning.
Explain what that is.
Yeah, product ratings and reviews are when customers
No, I get that. Feedback. The eBay's built on it.
Feedback. Well, what happens is when people leave ratings and reviews for a product, it does 2 things. It informs the public about a product, and there's all kinds of pros for that. There's all kinds of wonderful things that should happen. If you have an online store and you're selling product and you're not encouraging ratings and reviews, I just think you're missing it. But the other thing it does is it builds an inherent trust in the site. So I would deliberately post. Like, I was very liberal with my posting policy. If you didn't insult us, curse, or didn't mention a competitor, I didn't care what you said. And there were some scathing reviews, we earned some of them. I mean, boy, did we drop the ball occasionally. Yep. But I'd leave them on there, and I think people would call up and go, "Is that true?" I go, "Yep, we absolutely did that to that customer."
Did you respond to those? Did you have the opportunity to respond to those reviews?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we would. And to this day, I respond to all public criticism or commentary about our site. And, you can look. And if I think that the customer is being grotesquely unreasonable or is misrepresenting the fact, I will say it, and I will provide the fact. But when we make a mistake, and boy, we've done some doozies, I will grovel appropriately. It's just not fair. I don't think we should be adding to the net misery of the world. And I take it personally. Somebody's trying to do their bathroom renovation, and you ship them the wrong item, and then the next one arrives damaged, and you just you just don't need to do that to people. So I think you've got to take ratings and reviews seriously. I think you've got to answer customer problems online.
I've got a client who's in the renovation business. He's got an online store. He's one of my mastermind clients, and I know he'd be going, he's wanting to know, how do you get reviews? How do you encourage people to leave reviews? You have to be actively doing that, don't you?
Well, you actively do. We'll send an email out 4 to 6 weeks after a purchase asking people to rate their product, and we get a decent return on that. One of the things we did years ago, and we've done it I think 3 times now, we do it about every 2 years, is we have a review for charity. And we'll let our employees pick a charity that they like. Last time it was Alex's Lemonade Stand, which is a girl who passed away, a little girl from Philadelphia who was diagnosed with cancer and passed away from it. And her family started this little lemonade stand because that's how she was raising money to pay for her cancer treatments. True. And so it's it's a great charity. And we teamed up with one of our vendor partners, one of the people who supplies with products, and we said, how about this? How about we email everyone that's bought from us in the last 2 years, and we just ask them to review their products. And for every approved review on our site, both of us will donate $2.50 to the Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation. And in a period of about 3 weeks, we generated $12,000 in donations to this charity.
And that's a lot of reviews. That's 1,000 or so reviews.
I think it was roughly 1,200-ish. And for a small company like ours, I mean, that's good. It was a good return rate.
Let me just get that clear, because this is interesting. I want to have a talk about online, offline, because I think this discussion relates as much to an offline business as it does online. But you've identified a charity. You've sent an email out to everyone who's bought a product from you in the last 2 years, last year, and said, hey, would you mind giving us a review of how your product's performing? If you do, we're going to donate $2.50 to a charity, Alex's Lemonade Stand, and it's going to work. It's going to be good for everyone.
Everybody wins.
Everyone wins. 1,200 reviews come back. What did you do with those reviews? Did you put them specifically against each product that it referred to, or is it just is there a very long testimonial page? Where did you put them?
No, it's against every product. So if you go onto our site, you can see go to any product, and most of them, the majority of our products have at least one review, but there are some that just, people cannot talk enough about the, curved shower rod, or they cannot talk enough about a shower curtain with a panel in it. We have hundreds of reviews on those, and we just post it to the product. And our functionality that we get through Bazaar Voice allows customers to go through and sort by high rating, low rating, relevancy, number of positive votes. I mean,
looking at it now,
you can really dissect the reviews quite easily.
Yep. Yeah, great. Love that. Powerful. I just want to go back to just to finish the discussion around trust stamps, because I'm looking at your site now. You've got, I'm assuming that the trust stamps you're talking about, standard credit card and PayPal ones. Then you've got BBB, which is a reliability program. You've got a Norton secured, tested for safety, safe shopping network. You've got internet retailer, top 500 online retailer. I guess, I don't know, I guess there's some brands there. Norton is one that sticks out, obviously Visa, MasterCard, etc. Not so much trust stamps because they're just methods of payment. But what am I asking? Do people really trust them?
I think they do. And I think there's other trust things we can do here. For instance, like even if you go into the middle of our page, you can see that we put some of the top manufacturers that we carry. The fact that we're a Toto or Bertazzoni or Roll dealer or American Range dealer, I think that brings a level of trust and panache to our site. Brand names. You can trust us.
Yep.
I think when you look at the Better Business Bureau is very large in the United States. I think it's a good standard reporting agency. Norton tells you that the site is fairly secure. The different payment methods show you that we have that kind of clearinghouse capability. The internet retailer is saying that we're a top 500 retailer. I think the message that says is that we're large enough. We're at least sizable enough to be in that list. So I think there's when we looked at that, we didn't want to overwhelm folks with the trust, but we wanted to let them know that you can trust us. We are trustworthy.
I'm looking at the site now. I'm going to be constructively critical, but
go at it. But it's going to be critical about.
What's that?
There's plenty to be critical about.
Well, you know more than me because you're part of a $25 million a year online business that sells vintage tubs and baths. So what would I know? But with my consumer hat on, I go to the site and it feels like a site that hasn't had an update for about 7 years.
Well, see, that's where I totally say you were wrong. It hasn't
I love it.
Update in about 10 years.
10 years it hasn't had an update. Oh, goodness me.
We're in the process of modifying it. We had a number of different business challenges that we had to face. One of the good problems we had was that we grew faster than we knew what to do with it. And I'm an American history major. I'm not some great venture capitalist. I'm not the brilliant entrepreneur. My brother is a geologist by training, so it's not like we did the MBA program and then got venture capital and decided to fire this thing up. Yep. This was it's a series of happy accidents. And I think when looking back, the first problem was that we didn't have a handle on the money. When you start pushing over $1 million a year, the money can start getting away from you. The flow and velocity of money coming in and out of your business and the timing of it and how you think about it changes dramatically. And we just didn't have that training. So you don't think about it until, fortunately, the people you hire to look at, hey, you got to be thinking about this differently. It's not just a matter of us crunching numbers. You have to think differently about it. And then it became an issue of how do we find efficiency? So then instead of, again, working on the site, we went out and secured supply chains, so we could get out of the antique business and get into the standardized, mass-produced ones. Now we have arrangements with manufacturers all over the world. Simultaneously with that, one of the strategies we pursued, and again, it was at the expense of paying attention to the site, was when the .com bust hit, right? When everyone was talking, oh, you got to get eyeballs on the site, and it's not about conversion, it's about how many people see it. And my brother and
was
I
that W.C. Fields saying that?
Well, it's just my idiot voice, the voice of disdain.
Yeah.
Even when everyone was talking about that, and there was the pets.com and all that silliness, I get it. But for us, it was always about, we got to pay the bills. The eyeballs don't pay it, sales pay it. So when I realized, I guess I had kind of an epiphany. I realized that for that brief moment when it collapsed, Vintage Tub was going to be in a great position because we were growing and we would need the services that all of these web providers were providing, and there'd be limited buyers for those seller services. But I also knew that the internet wasn't going anywhere and that these big companies were going to figure it out. And the moment they did, they were going to turn around and suck all of the talent out of the room. And we would be left high and dry. We wouldn't be able to hire the talent, wouldn't be able to go out there and get the vendors we needed. So I started around 2001, 2002, going out and networking aggressively at the major conferences. And that's me coming out to Australia is one of those, is a long offshoot of that. But we found that aggressive networking, going out and speaking at the shows, telling our story, then beginning to moderate panels, and then beginning to moderate entire tracks, that gave us incredible access to knowledge and information. And I think that was one of the transformative things that we did, was to get out there and be just in the mix with the best people we could possibly find, the most knowledgeable people. And it has paid dividend after dividend after dividend. And then, of course, we went on to, get a new ERP system, a new back-end system, and new accounting systems. And so finally, the very last thing we're going to work on
is the shop front.
Yeah, it's the shop front. Everything else is taken care of now.
Love
but
it.
It's taken that long to do it.
But what great learning. I mean, big deal if it looks 7. Well, it's now, you've confirmed it's 10 years old. It's functional. It's selling. It's a fossil. It's a fossil selling $25 million of baths a year. So well done on that. And now tell me, what role does eBay play in the mix? Because I can go to vintagetub.com and buy a tub, and it looks as though I can also go to Vintage Tub on eBay. Is that an additional large distribution channel? Is it a clearance house? What is it?
It's more of a clearance house for us. eBay was instrumental in my learning. When I broke away from the business near its infancy, once we got it initially started, I broke away and did my own thing. One of the things I did was liquidate local businesses online, and I would list their items for sale on eBay. Now remember, this is back in 97, 98, and I misspelled something once. And I've been known to do that, but I misspelled something, and I didn't catch it until a couple of sales cycles later. And I'm like, boy, this item is selling. And I looked at it like, no one's looking at it, but I'm constantly selling at it. And it dawned on me, my first great insight into pay-per-click and SEO advertising was that if you have a common misspelling for a word and you rank well for it, fewer people look for it, so you have less competition. It was one of those kind of weird things. You can misspell, like one of the brands we carry is Elizabethan Classics, and we misspelled Elizabethan. And we got far fewer searches, but they converted at a massive rate. So it was one of those little weird tricks.
So the learning there, the marketing lesson there is clearly people who can't spell buy a lot.
That's right. Yeah, we're out there, and but it was just one of those things that eBay taught me, and it got me thinking about the power of the internet. So my brother approached me and said, "Hey, we're really thinking about making a full-time go of this business." I was like, "Well, you got to believe in the internet, man. I'm selling hundreds of dollars a month." So. Yeah, and the first year we were in business, I always joke about this. The first year in business, it was my brother, his wife, and myself. And the first year we had a net profit of $19,000, and we call that the year of starvation. And then off we went. But no, we believed in eBay. I think the value for eBay for us now is not as great as it was to begin with. It's a clearinghouse now, but it was instrumental in teaching us how to sell online in certain ways, and it also inspired us. It was like, no, the market's there. We just have to figure out how to get to them.
Now, you have a showroom as well, don't you? You have a bricks and mortar, somewhere to go. I can touch and feel your baths.
If you want to touch and feel our baths, you're more than welcome to. Cool. Yes, we have a showroom, partially because we don't get a lot of traffic to it. I mean, we have it's a very nice showroom. It's nicely laid out, but it's not a prime focus. What winds up happening is that, especially appliance dealers insist that we have product in a showroom, and I think that's a throwback to the old days of when the brick and mortar stores had to put it in there. So that's what we've got. We got lots of stuff that very few people see, but that's okay.
At what point did you open a showroom?
We had a showroom of sorts, and I'll use the term very loosely, about maybe 6 to 8 years ago. Right. But we now have a real showroom now for about 3 years.
It's not an easy. I mean, I had to dig deep to find that on the site. It's obviously not something you promote, and given you're an online store, an online business, I mean, it's probably limited in terms of people who are ever going to go there. But it's obviously a good credentializer. If people go, oh, these guys actually do have a high street presence, they must be good.
Yeah, well, we're, one of the things, I mean, certainly when someone takes the effort to come to our showroom, and I remember this when I was actually still selling out there, right now I'm just in product acquisition, but when I was actually meeting customers and selling, it was like an adventure. You can drive 2 hours west from New York City and come to the wilds of Pennsylvania and see these tubs, ooh. Yeah, they'd spend all day and have a blast,
Crazy
and they
day
loved
out.
it. Oh, yeah, it was a wacky day out.
Go home clean.
Yeah, visit the folks out in Pennsylvania, as we call ourselves. Right. But they really enjoyed it, and it still happens today. Folks come out, and it's a special experience because we'll actually take a salesman and they'll sit with them, and if it's an hour, it's an hour. If it's 3 hours, it's 3 hours. We don't really care. If someone makes the effort to come out and see us, we're more than happy to talk to you. Mm-hmm. So it's still small but special.
Now, that brings me to the discussion. And by the way, listeners, I'm talking to Allan Dick, who is one of the founding employees and brother of the owner of Vintage Tub. And Allan's coming to Australia in a couple of weeks' time to speak at, it's an e-commerce conference, isn't it?
It's online e-commerce, Melbourne. It's going to be, it's going to be let me get my dates straight here.
April 18, 19, I think, from memory.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, and there's a pre-conference issues the day before, I think on the 16th. So, it's a good show.
It's a great show. In fact, my sponsor, Net Registry, are one of the sponsors of that conference. So it's got to be good. Allan, I'm really keen to understand. I want to talk offline. What's your view on bricks and mortar businesses that refuse to embrace the online world? And by that I don't mean going headlong into setting up an online shop and doing the whole catastrophe as you have so successfully done, but at least acknowledging that, you know what, the marketing world has changed. There are a massive amount of opportunities to market your business online, yet they've still got the 6-year-old, 10-year-old website. They may not even have a website. What do you say to those people?
Well, I mean, I have learned not to tell other people how to do their business. But I would say that in general, if you're, I'll answer it this way. I think there's a huge misperception out there about the value of online and the synergy between on and offline. And I'll demonstrate this every year. We go to the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show, and I've gone to that now for 8-10 years, something like that. And it's an exhibition of all the major plumbing brands. And I remember when I would go there to start with, we were like, I got to watch how I phrase this. This is a public thing. We were shunned, I think, is a very, very polite way of describing how we were treated at first. Then when the market crashed in 2008 and 9, they loved us. Online was the savior. And then when the economy started improving, we hate you guys again. And what I keep having to evangelize is saying, look, can we just get past the brick and mortar versus cataloger versus online store? Can we please just see reality for what it is? We are, whether we like it or not, helping brick and mortar stores sell product. And brick and mortar stores, whether they like it or not, are helping us sell product. I don't think we've just got to get out of the one channel is trying to kill the other.
How are you?
One channel isn't going to kill it.
How is I can see how a bricks and mortar store is helping an online store sell product, because often there's a significant price differential depending on what category you're talking about, higher purchase, higher involvement items. But how is an online store helping a bricks and mortar store sell more items?
They're doing it because our shelves have virtually unlimited shelf space. So let's say I'm a customer and I'm looking for, a faucet or a toilet, and I can't find the exact toilet I want at Home Depot or Lowe's or my local brick and mortar store. I go online, either on my tablet or my mobile device or at work, and I find Vintage Tub has this great Toto corner toilet that no one else wants to display. Well, they've got a good relationship with their local store. They don't trust us, or they just want to tell their plumber about it. So they go into their store, into the brick and mortar store with our printout and say, can you get me this? Now, I have scores to hundreds of emails from a major chain here. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's one everyone's heard of. And they sell the same line and item that we rank very highly for. I've actually had certainly hundreds of customers have written to us saying, can you help me purchase this at my local X store? But I also have had emails from their associates writing to us asking us for information.
Oh, wow.
And in the spirit of goodwill and good karma, we'll answer some basic questions.
Yeah.
But I'm not about to close the sale for you.
Correct.
And I guess one of the things I can't stand is when a brick and mortar store says, I can't close the guy who walks into my showroom with a printout saying, I want to buy something. I mean, unless they're buying that product at such a disadvantage, and there's no excuse with appliance buying groups and some of these other potential things that people can do, there's no excuse why brick and mortar stores, even of a moderate size, couldn't compete against us. It's just silly, So I don't have any sympathy for people who don't know basic closing techniques. I'm sorry, I just don't.
No, fair call.
I'm certain I'll get hate mail for that, but that's how I feel.
I just won't give out your address.
Well, please do.
Hey, Allan, thanks so much, mate, for appearing on the Small Business Big Marketing Show. I think it's a great story. I look forward to the next iteration of the website. When it's done, feel free to share it, because I'd love to see it. And I'll put links in the show notes to vintagetub.com. And
we appreciate it.
Go and check all about it. And do you deliver internationally, or is it all USA, Canada?
I've overnighted a tub to Tokyo.
Wow.
That was one pricey delivery.
I bet it was.
Yeah. Well, so, but yes, we can. We certainly can.
Love it. Allan, thanks for appearing, mate.
All right, Tim. Thank you so much for having me. Good day, everyone.
There you go, folks. That is Allan Dick from vintagetub.com. 3 marketing learnings I took from that interview. Number 1, and this one sort of makes me chuckle, sort of frustrates me at the same time. Don't wait for your website to be perfect before getting on with the rest of your marketing and or with the rest of your business. The number of times I hear small business owners saying, I'm just getting my website sorted out before blah, 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 is incredible. I see it in the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. I hear it on the Deep Dive, the Small Business Deep Dive Mastermind that I run. And I think it's kind of an excuse. We hide behind it. I've been guilty of it as well. I'm sure many of you have too. Websites are important. Website is the hub of your marketing. There's no doubt about it. We are who Google says we are, and we want our website to be rocking. But it shouldn't be an excuse for holding back on launching into a social media strategy or a networking strategy or a video marketing strategy or whatever it may be. Get your website right, but get on with the other stuff as well. Marketing lesson number 2, entice testimonials. I loved that idea that Allan had of paying past customers. Well, not paying past customers. That would be bribery. Of actually suggesting to past customers, if you provide a testimonial by reviewing a product that you have purchased from us previously, then they will pay $2.50 to the local charity. I love that. I think that's a really clever idea. Don't underestimate the power of testimonials. I hear some people occasionally say, oh, no one reads testimonials, whatever. Get them nonetheless, because some might, and they may turn into customers themselves. Number 3 marketing lesson from that chat with Allan: sell offline and online, right? So there's this I see some businesses racing down the online track and forgetting their offline presence. And I see others racing down the offline track, the bricks and mortar business, and forgetting their online business. There is a role for both. Vintage Tub have proved that with the showroom they've got and this extremely successful online part of their business, or major part of their business. So look after both. If you are a business owner sitting there neglecting your online strategy, then change things. Contact Net Registry, join the Small Business Big Marketing Forum, join the Deep Dive Mastermind. Just get some knowledge around it and build that online presence as well as your offline. So there are 3 marketing lessons I learned from the interview. Now, next week and the coming weeks, great interviews coming up. I've got so many listener questions. If you have sent me a listener question or comment and I haven't replied, I am so sorry, but I have got so many piling up, and I promise you they will be covered off in the coming weeks and months. We've got David Maloney, the CEO of V8 Supercars in Australia. That is a small business. He employs 60 people. Sounds big, but it's small. It's a business with a wonderful brand, getting great exposure around the world. I have a wonderful chat with David Maloney. I was a guest, as you know, I mentioned I was going down to Launceston last week, guest of Microsoft 365 Office, and they actually allowed me to interview the CEO of V8 Supercars, which is absolutely fantastic. Had a great weekend down there, by the way, and thank you, Microsoft, for that. I've got Heather Smith coming up. She's a small business author. Listener questions, as I said, and so much more. Daniel Flynn, I'm interviewing from Thank You Water tomorrow, this water brand, like we need another one, but he's doing great things with water and saving the world at the same time. So, guys, enough from me. Thanks so much for tuning into Australia's #1 marketing show. You are the wind beneath my wings, as a wonderful 1980s singer Colin Hewitt once sung. That shows my age. And I'll see you next week. smallbusinessbigmarketing.com is where you're going to find me. May your marketing be the best marketing. See ya.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.